Hey folks, welcome back to Stoic Talks. Today, I'm about to drop an extremely dark psychological secret that, when mastered, will make them chase you desperately, like a moth drawn to a flame. This isn't for the faint-hearted, so if you're serious about flipping the game, you're in the right place. Think about it. Right now, you're chasing, pouring your energy into someone who's barely giving you a second glance. They're ignoring you, brushing you off like you don't even matter. And don't lie to yourself, you're still chasing them, still hoping for even the smallest sign that you're on their mind. But here's the reality. The more you reach out, the more they pull away. As the famous saying goes, the more you chase a butterfly, the more it flies away. But the moment you focus on your garden, all the butterflies come to you. Right now, you're that person running through fields, trying to catch butterflies, only to watch them slip further away. But what if, with this dark psychological secret, you could flip the script on them? But it's not that simple. Mere silence won't do the trick, folks, so make sure to stick with me. This video has the complete secret that no one has told you before, and believe me, its power works like magic. So make sure to stay with me till the end, because I can bet you've never thought about it this way before. Now, close your eyes for a moment and imagine it. Imagine them chasing you. Picture them feeling that same urgency you once felt, the way they suddenly can't go a day without thinking of you, wondering where you are, craving your attention. How does it feel when the tables turn? When they're the ones feeling the sting of your absence? When they can't live without you? Just feel it, folks, how powerful this feeling is. So folks, that's exactly what we're diving into in this video. This one little dark secret is so powerful, it can flip the script entirely and have them coming to you. So if you're ready to master this, go ahead and hit that like button. It's a small action that makes a huge difference for us and helps us reach even more people ready to take control. So let me explain this secret to you with a clear example, as here's where the real secret begins. Imagine this. Sarah has been trying to attract Max for what feels like ages. She's been the one reaching out, checking her phone constantly, hoping for that little notification with his name. She's put in the effort, showed her interest, maybe even went out of her way to be there for him. But Max, he's been distant, elusive, giving her just enough attention to keep her hooked, but never enough to make her feel secure. Now, here's where the shift begins. Sarah, worn out by the endless one-sided chase, finally decides to pull back. She stops reaching out, stops texting him. She just vanishes from his life like a sudden, unexpected silence. And don't think for a second that Max won't feel this. He'll feel it, folks, and let me tell you, it will hit him hard. He might even come back. But here's the harsh truth, folks, that people are hiding from you. When he comes back, he'll see the same old Sarah he rejected 1,000 times. And what will he do this time? He'll reject her again and eventually move on with his life. The simple stuff that others might tell you is just go no contact, and they'll become obsessed with you. Hell no, folks. Humans are smarter than that. It's 2024, and no one falls for something that basic anymore. So how does no contact really work? Well, it's not about just going silent and waiting for them to magically notice. Let me ask you a question. If you go quiet and they do take notice, what will they see? The same person they once rejected, the same one they thought wasn't worth their time. Why would that make them come running back? Just think about it, folks. So what do we have to do here? This is why we call it a dark psychological secret. When you go no contact or become silent, you're not just sitting there waiting. Instead, you're taking specific steps that strike their ego, hit them where it counts, and make them see you in a completely different light. And these are not some simple steps, folks. These are 7 dark steps that will invade their mind, twist their thoughts, and leave them craving you in ways they can't escape. Buckle up, because once you start, there's no turning back. Through these steps, you'll project a version of yourself that's elusive, powerful, and magnetic, something they can't ignore. You're not just disappearing, you're upgrading, becoming the version of yourself that commands respect and captures attention without a word. All right, folks, it's time for our affirmation. This is more than just words. This is a declaration of your power, a reminder of the force you hold within. So repeat after me. My silence drives them wild. Now don't just say it, feel it. Write it down for once and all in the comments, and feel the depth of those words and what they represent. Your silence isn't just the absence of noise. It's a presence that fills their mind, a pull they can't escape. Think about this. The loudest roar is often found in silence. When you embrace this, you radiate a power they can't ignore, a mystery they can't resist. So go ahead, type it out, and drop it in the comments below. Make it real. Say it again with conviction. My silence drives them wild. Let this be the affirmation that turns the tables. As Lee Iocca once said, the discipline of writing something down is the first step toward making it happen. So take that first step, write it down, make it real. Type out the affirmation in the comments below. My silence drives them wild. When you put it in words, you're committing to a new reality, one where your silence holds all the power. Now let's dive deep into these 7 dark steps that will change your reality and shift the power completely in your favor. Number 1, the inscrutable response. So folks, once you've gone silent, get ready. They will reach out to you. It might take a little time, but trust me, they'll be back. That first message, it's not just a casual check-in. It's them testing the waters, trying to figure out what happened, wondering if you're still around, if you're still waiting. Maybe it's something as simple as hey, or how have you been? But don't let that fool you. They're looking for answers. And remember what I said earlier. When they come back, if they find the same version of you they left, the one who's still eager, still explaining, still waiting, they'll pull away again. They'll think nothing's changed. They're still right here, waiting for me to come back on my terms. But you're not that person anymore. This is where the inscrutable response comes in. When they reach out, they're expecting a flood of details, explanations, maybe even apologies. But this time, you're giving them something they never saw coming, a response that leaves them hanging, that keeps them guessing. This response is going to be short, calm, and a little bit distant. For example, they text, "Where have you been?" or "What's up?" Instead of diving in and explaining your every move, try responding with something simple like, "Oh, I've just been busy with a few things that are more important." Now let's break down why this hits hard. First, this response is short. You're not giving them an essay, you're not over-explaining, and you're definitely not pouring out your emotions. And here's the key. You're implying that your focus has shifted to things that don't involve them. They're not the center of your attention anymore. And that alone is enough to make them wonder. When you say things that are more important, you're delivering a subtle message. Your priorities have changed, and they're no longer at the top of the list. Imagine this from their perspective. They were used to being the one you revolved around, the one you always made time for, no matter what. And now, you've moved on to more important things. That realization hits hard, folks. It's like an unspoken question haunting them. What could be more important than me? Maybe you're wondering, will they even care about such a simple response? Absolutely. People are drawn to mystery. to gaps in knowledge they can't quite fill. They'll start overthinking, wondering what's going on in your life, why you're suddenly so hard to reach. Mystery is the silent magnet, as they say. When you don't lay everything out for them, they're left with questions. Questions that will lead them back to you. Think of it like reading a book where the last chapter is missing. That open ending will stick with you, gnawing at your mind, making you wonder about all the possible conclusions. That's what you're creating here. A response that doesn't fully close the door, but doesn't open it either. You're leaving a shadow of uncertainty, and that shadow will keep them up at night, wondering what changed, why they no longer have the full story. Some of you might think, but isn't this playing games? Not at all. This isn't about manipulation. It's about reclaiming your own energy. You're showing them that you're no longer at their beck and call, that your world is more complex, more layered, and doesn't revolve around them. You're taking your silence and turning it into power, a force that speaks louder than words. Here's another question you might have. Won't they just get frustrated and walk away? Maybe. But let me ask you this. Are you trying to keep them around by any means, or are you trying to turn the tables to make them see you in a whole new light? Because if they truly want to know what's going on with you, if they really care, this response will pull them in deeper. Curiosity is powerful, folks. When people can't have all the answers, they become obsessed with finding them. Imagine them rereading that message, busy with things that are more important, trying to decode it. They'll wonder if you've met someone new, if you're working on some exciting project, or if you're simply living your life fully without them. The more they try to figure it out, the more they'll feel that ache of missing you, of realizing they don't have access to you like they used to. This step, the inscrutable response, is like planting a seed. You're letting them feel the distance, letting them question your choices, your actions, your new priorities. It's subtle but powerful. The less you reveal, the more they wonder. That's the magic of this step. They'll start checking their phone, hoping for a follow-up, waiting for you to slip and reveal more. But you won't. Let's take it one step further. What if they ask for details? Maybe they text back with, "More important things?" Like what? Even here, resist the urge to explain. You can respond with something like, "Oh, just some exciting changes I've been working on." Again, vague, simple, and keeping them in the dark. This is what drives them wild. They'll be piecing together everything they know about you, trying to fit this new, elusive version of you into the puzzle they thought they'd solved. And let me tell you, folks, this step is just the beginning. We're building a foundation here. The more you master the art of giving less, of holding back and letting them do the chasing, the more powerful you become in their mind. Then they'll start to see you as someone they can't easily understand, someone they can't pin down. That kind of mystery, it's addictive. So, as you take this step, remember that the goal isn't to shut them out entirely. It's to create a space where they feel compelled to come closer, to dig deeper, to understand who you've become. And every time you leave them with just a hint, just a taste, you're fueling their need to know more. People chase what they can't hold. That's the core of the inscrutable response. You're giving them enough to stay intrigued, but never enough to feel satisfied. Let's wrap this up with a powerful affirmation. Say it with me. I am the mystery they crave. Write it down, feel the strength in those words, and know that this is just the start. Stick with me, folks, because the real dark tricks are just beginning. The psychological mirror. All right, folks, we're stepping into the psychological mirror. This is all about reflecting back the energy they gave you. Remember, you're silent, you're gone, but the impact you're creating is far from passive. They'll feel every bit of distance they once made you feel, and it'll get under their skin. Trust me, you're not waiting. You're working on becoming a mirror that lets them see exactly what they missed out on. Here's how it works. Think of the times they left you hanging, the moments they made you feel like you didn't matter, all those little ways they created doubt. You're reflecting those back now without a single word. The mirror isn't about responding, it's about showing them, in every subtle way, that the world you're building is a world they no longer know or control. Imagine they hear about you through mutual friends, that you've been moving forward, thriving, doing things they never thought you'd do. When they find out you're out there living confidently, unbothered, it forces them to see a new version of you. They start to question what's changed, and in that questioning, they're seeing a reflection of their own actions. The ways they once pulled away, left you uncertain, now it's their turn to feel it, but amplified by your transformation. Now some of you might think, how is this any different than just ignoring them? Here's the difference. Ignoring is passive. Reflecting back their energy is active. You're not just silent. You're sending a clear message that says, I'm not where you left me. It's a mirror of growth, of change, of strength that they weren't ready for. Think of it like this. People tend to underestimate what they take for granted, but the moment that stability shifts, they're forced to recognize what they missed. That's what the psychological mirror does. It shows them what they lost by making them see the version of you that no longer waits for their validation, the version that's moved on to a new chapter. And just like looking in a distorted mirror, it's unsettling. They'll be haunted by questions. Have they moved on? What are they doing now? It becomes a mystery that eats away at them. Sometimes the most powerful reflection is silence. This isn't about waiting for their attention. It's about letting them realize, little by little, that they're no longer the center of your world. And trust me, folks, that realization stings. People often only value what they feel slipping away. Your silence, combined with your growth, becomes a mirror showing them what they've lost, without you having to utter a single word. Imagine them hearing you've been at events, surrounded by people, but you're no longer looking over your shoulder for them. Or maybe they catch glimpses of you from a distance, stronger, more radiant, embodying a confidence they didn't expect. This alone challenges everything they assumed. You're holding up a mirror to their indifference by showing that it has no hold on you anymore. They'll see the reflection of their own dismissal in your detachment, and that's where the real impact begins. And here's where it gets powerful. When they start feeling this distance, they might even feel the pull to check in, to reconnect, to see how you're doing. But here's the key. Don't break the silence. Let them sit with the mirror you've created. You're not out of reach because you're playing hard to get. You're out of reach because your world no longer has space for their half-hearted interest. Some of you might ask, isn't this cold? No, this isn't about being cold. It's about reclaiming your own worth. You're not cutting them off. You're creating a boundary. You're saying, I won't entertain the same energy you once gave me. And this boundary, it's magnetic. They'll find themselves pulled toward the mystery you've become, haunted by the silence that reflects back their own actions. This psychological mirror works because it lets them feel their own distance, their own lack of effort, but now amplified and intensified. You're no longer the person they dismissed or overlooked. You become the version they regret not knowing, the person they'll replay in their mind, wondering if they ever really knew you at all. Every moment they spend wondering, every time they hear your name or catch a glimpse of your life without them, they're faced with the reality they created. And that reflection? It's impossible to ignore. Let's seal this moment with an affirmation to ground you in this power. Repeat after me. I am the reflection they'll never escape. Write it down, hold on to it, and know that this is just the beginning. We're just getting started. Stick with me because the deeper, darker tactics are still ahead. The elusive social media presence. All right, folks, let's dive into the elusive social media presence. This is where you turn your social media into a subtle, powerful tool that draws them in without you even trying. You're going to become like a shadow, visible enough to spark curiosity, but never giving away too much. The trick here? Just enough presence to let them wonder, but never enough for them to feel satisfied. When you post, you're going to do it strategically. No endless selfies, no direct updates, no overexposure. Instead, think of your social media as a puzzle with missing pieces. A photo of a stunning view, a shot of you out with friends, a hint of something exciting in your life, all without giving them the full picture. You're showing that you're living a life they're no longer part of, but you're not handing them every detail. It's like reading the beginning of a captivating story and being left on a cliffhanger. They'll keep coming back, hoping for more. Now, why does this work? Because when someone can't see the full story, they start filling in the blanks on their own. They'll see that view you posted from a new place and wonder, who's with them? What's going on in their life that I don't know about? It creates a gap in their mind that they can't fill, a curiosity that keeps them checking back. You've become a mystery they can't solve, and human nature can't resist a mystery. Think of it like a magician's trick. You're showing them a glimpse of something intriguing, but they never see the whole act. They're left guessing, piecing things together, and that curiosity? It's powerful. Every time they scroll past your posts, they're reminded of a version of you they no longer have access to. They see the life you're building, the confidence in each post, but they're on the outside looking in. Here's another key. Keep it infrequent. This isn't about posting every day or sharing every meal. It's about quality over quantity. A single photo, a well-placed story, or a simple post with no context can be more impactful than 100 updates. When you become a rare presence on social media, each post has weight. They'll notice, they'll linger, and they'll keep thinking about what they're missing. Some of you might wonder, isn't this all a bit too subtle? Will they even notice? Trust me, they'll notice. When someone has been part of your life, even if they're no longer there, they still pay attention. They might not admit it, but they're watching. And when they see you out there living fully without them, it sends a message louder than words. I'm moving forward, and you're not part of my world anymore. That's where the power lies, in letting them feel the absence, letting them see that you're thriving without their validation. Imagine them late at night, scrolling through your profile, hoping for some clue, some hint of where you are, what you're doing, and who you might be with. But all they find are fragments, hints, and glimpses. It's like a jigsaw puzzle with pieces deliberately missing. The more they see, the more they're drawn in, wanting to know more, but never getting the complete picture. And let's be real, they might even try reaching out, sending a message just to catch up or see what's new. But here's where you stay in control. You're not obligated to explain yourself or fill them in. You're letting your presence or lack thereof do the work. You're keeping your life private, out of reach, and that distance. It drives them to look harder, to think deeper, and to realize they don't hold the place they once did. To close out this step, remember this: the less they know, the more they'll crave. When you make yourself elusive, you become a magnet for their curiosity, a question they can't stop asking themselves. You're no longer someone they understand fully, and that mystery keeps pulling them back. Let's lock in this energy with an affirmation. I am the mystery they can't ignore. Write it down, feel the power in it, and keep your social media presence as a carefully curated enigma. This is just another layer of the control you're building. Stay tuned, because we're only halfway there, and the best is yet to come. And if you haven't hit that like button yet, that's just sad, folks. This video truly deserves a like. Number 4. The Dark Achievement. All right, folks, here we are at the Dark Achievement. This step is all about turning your ambitions into powerful, undeniable successes. You're going to build something so impressive that it haunts them, a life filled with achievements they can't ignore, even from a distance. This isn't about bragging or throwing your success in their face. No, this is about quietly becoming the person they'll regret leaving behind. Imagine launching yourself into your biggest goals, pouring your energy into the projects, dreams, and plans you once put on hold. Start focusing on your career, your health, your finances, whatever it is that fuels your drive and ambition. Now is the time to make things happen, not for them, but for you. Every achievement becomes a powerful reminder that you're growing, thriving, and reaching new heights, and they're not part of it. Here's the beauty of this step. Success has a way of speaking for itself. You don't need to shout about it from the rooftops. Just let your achievements naturally come to light. Let the whispers of your progress spread. Imagine them hearing from mutual friends or seeing a subtle post about the success you've built. They'll feel the sting of missing out, realizing they're no longer connected to this incredible version of you. Success is the best revenge, they say, and it's true. When you're out there achieving, becoming, evolving, they'll see just what they walked away from. Maybe you're wondering, will they really care about my success? Trust me, they will. People are naturally drawn to growth and success, especially when it comes from someone they thought they understood. When they see you thriving without them, it's a mirror reflecting what they lost, and that regret, it runs deep. Every milestone you reach, every goal you achieve becomes a reminder that you're out of their league, moving forward while they're left in the past. And this isn't just about career or money. Your success can be in any area of life. It could be you taking charge of your health, going on adventures, or exploring new talents. Picture them hearing about the places you've visited, the new skills you've developed, or the things you've accomplished on your own. Each achievement is a quiet declaration that you've built a life they no longer have access to. Think of your life as a masterpiece in progress. You're adding new layers, new dimensions, creating a picture that's more vivid, more powerful with each accomplishment. Imagine them looking at this masterpiece, once familiar but now unrecognizable, realizing they're no longer part of the story. That's the power of the dark achievement. It's the success that haunts them, the reminder that they lost something truly remarkable. Some of you might be thinking, isn't this just about moving on? Yes, but it's deeper than that. Moving on is passive, achieving is active. It's about using every ounce of focus and energy to become the best version of yourself. You're not just moving forward, you're skyrocketing. You're becoming someone they'll look back on with a sense of loss and missed opportunity. So here's your challenge. Dive into something meaningful. Whether it's a career goal, a passion project, or a personal development journey, make it yours and make it shine. Let your accomplishments do the talking. Let your success be the silence that echoes in their mind, the reminder that, while they took you for granted, you were building something they'll never get to be part of. Let's close this out with an affirmation. My success speaks louder than words. Write it down, say it aloud, and let this be the fuel that drives you forward. And keep watching, because there's still more to come. This journey is just heating up. Number 5, the unreachable aura. All right, folks, we're diving into the unreachable aura. This step is about creating a presence that feels slightly out of reach, a version of you that they can't just casually access whenever they want. Imagine becoming the person who's there but never fully available, someone they can sense but not easily grasp. This aura is magnetic, pulling them in while keeping them at arm's length, leaving them wanting more. The key to the unreachable aura is subtlety. You're not ignoring them outright, but you're no longer easy to reach. No longer readily available, you're living your life fully, with your own plans, commitments, and dreams that don't wait around for anyone. You're showing them through your actions that you're not sitting by the phone, waiting for their attention. In fact, they don't even cross your mind because you're too busy living a life that excites and fulfills you. Imagine this. They're used to having easy access to you, knowing they could reach you whenever. But now, you're not there for every message, every call, or every whim they might have. You're like a rare glimpse of something precious that can't be held for long. The allure of something they can't have consistently is powerful. It's human nature to want what's just out of reach, and when they start feeling this distance, it leaves them wondering, questioning, and craving the closeness they once took for granted. Maybe you're wondering, isn't this just playing hard to get? No, this is deeper. This isn't a game. It's about showing them a new reality where you are your own priority. You've become someone who respects their own time, who isn't bending over backward to keep others happy. This shift speaks volumes, showing them that they're no longer the center of your world. It's a boundary that quietly says, I'm no longer available on demand. Here's the beauty of this step. The less accessible you are, the more value your presence holds. They'll start to realize that every moment they could have with you is precious, no longer guaranteed. It's a hard realization for them, especially if they once assumed they could come and go as they pleased. You're reconstructing yourself from the inside out, becoming the kind of person who turns heads, who commands respect, and who walks into a room with quiet confidence. This is you, upgraded. And here's where it gets powerful. When you embrace this transformation, you're not doing it to impress anyone. You're doing it because you finally realized that your worth was never tied to someone else's validation. This new version of you is focused, self-assured, and driven. You're embracing growth in all areas, and that alone is magnetic. People notice when you grow beyond their expectations. As the saying goes, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. And now, you're becoming the person who exceeds everything they once thought they knew about you. They left you, dismissed you, or underestimated you, but now you're showing them a version they no longer recognize, a version they can't quite understand. This reconstructed persona creates a sense of mystery and intrigue that leaves them wondering how they ever let you go. You're not just reminding them of what they lost, you're showing them someone they never had the chance to fully know. Imagine them hearing about your changes through mutual friends or catching a glimpse of you, looking happier, more fulfilled, more confident than ever before. It's a hard realization for them to grasp. They're no longer part of this new chapter of your life. They're on the outside, seeing a version of you that's thriving without their presence, and that realization stings It's like seeing a phoenix rise from the ashes, knowing they had a chance to be part of that transformation and let it slip away. Some of you might ask, isn't this just about putting on a front? Not at all. The reconstructed persona isn't about faking anything. It's about bringing out the best, most resilient parts of yourself that may have been held back or underestimated. You're peeling away the layers that no longer serve you, shedding the past, and stepping into a version of yourself that's genuinely fulfilled. This isn't an act. It's you, reborn and untouchable. The best part? You don't have to announce this change. Let it unfold naturally. Let them see the glow-up in subtle ways. They'll sense the shift. They'll feel the distance. And they'll realize you're no longer accessible in the way you once were. You're no longer the person who waits, who settles, who clings to the past. Instead, you're someone they'll look at with a mixture of admiration and regret, wondering if they ever truly knew you at all. To anchor this step, let's finish with an affirmation. I am the best version of myself. Write it down, say it, and let it become your foundation. This transformation isn't for them, it's for you. And stick around, because the final step is still to come, and it's the most powerful one yet. Number 7, the final emotional barrier. All right, folks, here we are at the ultimate step, the final emotional barrier. This is where you create a boundary so powerful that it becomes the defining line between the person you were and the person you are now. This barrier isn't just for them, it's for you. It's a line they can't cross, a barrier that tells them, you can look, but you can't touch. You're closing the door to the past, and they'll feel the cold weight of that closed door every single day. This step is the culmination of everything you've done so far. They've seen you evolve, they've felt the absence, they've watched as you've become someone beyond their reach, and now you're no longer emotionally available. It's like an impenetrable wall they can't break down, a powerful boundary that reminds them that they lost access to the deepest, most vulnerable parts of you. This isn't about anger or resentment. It's about protecting your peace. Imagine it like this. They're standing on the other side of that wall, trying to reach you, to reconnect, to find any way back in. But this time, there's no bridge, no path that leads to your heart. The doors are closed, the windows are shut, and every attempt they make feels like a knock that goes unanswered. They'll try, maybe even repeatedly, hoping you'll let them back into that part of your life. But that part of you is gone, and it's not coming back. Some of you might wonder, why create such a hard boundary? Because they've had their chance, and they chose to walk away. They made the decision to let you go, to treat you as though you were optional, and now you're making it clear that you're not. This boundary is a powerful reminder to them and to yourself that you deserve respect, loyalty, and commitment. You're no longer waiting for anyone to realize your worth because you already know it. You've become untouchable. Think of it as a fortress. You're within that fortress, strong, whole, complete, and protected from the people who once tried to destabilize you. They'll feel the impact of every attempt to reach you, every time they try to reconnect, only to realize that there's no path leading back. This is the final emotional barrier, and it's one they'll never forget. Maybe they'll reach out through mutual friends. Maybe they'll leave you messages trying to test the waters, but each time they'll find that you're no longer reacting, no longer responding in the ways they remember. You've moved on, and this barrier you've built isn't just physical, it's psychological. They can sense that they no longer have a place in your inner world, and that knowledge will haunt them more than any words ever could. Respect is earned, not demanded. By setting this barrier, you're teaching them that your emotional energy is sacred, not to be given away freely to those who took it for granted. To seal this step, let's end with an affirmation. I protect my peace at all costs. Write it down, say it, and let it guide your actions. You're no longer available for people who failed to value you, and that's a powerful statement. That concludes the 7 steps, and trust me when I say, if you follow these, you'll leave them in the dust. You'll become the person they look back on with regret. And while you're out there building your empire, you'll be living proof that the most powerful revenge is living well. Stay tuned, because there's always more to learn.